Welcome teachers, instructors, instructional assistants. Today we're going to talk about objectives and we're going to take a look at the role that they play in our classrooms. And the idea for this mini lesson came about when we started our mock observations in preparation for the site visit from the Ohio Board of Regents. Objectives are mentioned in 2 of the 11 criteria assessed in their rubric, so it's important that we are all aware of the purpose and the use of objectives in our classroom. Objectives are basically learning goals that are aligned to the content standards. Teachers often use the question, what should the student be able to do by the end of the lesson, to guide the process of writing objectives. And because they're aligned to the content standards, writing objectives are usually just a simple rephrasing of the standard itself. For example, the objective of this mini lesson might read, by the end of this video, you'll be able to explain the purpose of learning objectives. Now you, as the learner, have a clear idea of the expectations of this video. As we proceed, keep this objective in mind. Another way to think about objectives from the teacher's perspective is to complete the phrase, the students will. So by the end of the lesson, the students will be able to master a specific task, and the students can think of the objective as I can. In fact, many schools adopted I can statements that all teachers and learners can use to identify the target objectives and to keep track of the ones they've mastered. While objectives are important for all learners, they're particularly important for adult learners. Adult learners tend to prefer explicit instruction or instruction that clearly defines the goals and desired outcomes. Objectives are vital to explicit learning because it gives learners a target to aim for. This way, adults can better draw on their past experiences and their strengths in order to reach the goal. Objectives help teachers too. When a teacher has a clear target, they can better align instructional materials, activities, and assessments to make connections and help their students reach the goal. Here are a few examples of objectives that you might use in the classroom. Remember to think of them as goals, or what the student will be able to do by the end of the lesson. You can see that the skill is different for each of them. Identify, understand, explain, compare. So the approach to the lesson and especially the evaluation will need to be different. Use these skills to help you as a teacher decide how to assess student learning. To be most effective, objectives should be posted or shared with students before the lesson. Many of us share our classrooms, so we can't necessarily leave information posted. In this case, write the objective for the day on the board and have students keep a list in their notebook. This way, students will have a list of all the skills they've mastered since attending the class. You could even provide the students with a list ahead of time so that they can check it off as they learn. That way, they can see what they've accomplished as well as see where they're headed. Well, this concludes the mini lesson on objectives. Did you meet the goal? Can you explain the purpose of learning objectives? Prove it by posting and discussing objectives in your next class.